Hi there and welcome to Influence, a show all about the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. I'm your host, Jessica Graves. Today I'm excited to have Dr. Will Davis, one of our guests today, who's an assistant professor in the Agricultural Economics Department. Dr. Davis, welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what your academic history is. Let the folks know who you are.
Sure. So like Jessica said, my name is Will Davis. I am a professor in the Ag Econ department here at Mississippi State. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and I went to undergrad at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and then went to graduate school to get my PhD in economics at Georgia State University. I've been in Starkville since August of 2020, so moved here during the pandemic, but it's been a really great experience, and I'm happy to be here today.
Awesome, thank you. So we're here today to talk really about the new data science program. So I anticipate there may be some viewers that are like, what is data science? I'm not sure where this conversation's going. Why don't you briefly introduce what data science is to our audience?
Sure. So data science is a really exciting interdisciplinary field that's been growing over the last few years. It covers quite a few different things, so it's kind of a little challenging to put a definition on it, but the way you can think about it is it's different skills and approaches to taking data, oftentimes big data sets or noisy data sets, and converting them into useful information. And data science typically is the overlap of three domains. The first is math and statistics, so you got to know your math and your stats in order to analyze the data. The second is computer science, so you have to know how to program a computer in order to take the data and convert it into usable information. And finally, you have domain expertise. So this is where data science sometimes can differ from traditional fields, where you don't only have to be an expert in data analysis and how to use data, but you also have to understand the field and the topic you're studying in order to get the most useful information out of it.
You've done a fantastic job of outlining the details of what data science is. Thank you for that. So let's talk about how data science maybe fits into your role as an ag economist. And so generally speaking, ag economists do work across a lot of different disciplines. I understand that you do work maybe in the health side, the human health side of things. So how about tell us a little bit about how data science really fits into your role, maybe even some specific examples of how this is applied as an ag economist?
Sure. So like you mentioned, I'm primarily a health economist, but a lot of my work is on government nutrition assistance programs and adult and child health. And a lot of people, I think when they think of what an economist does, they have a little bit of confusion. They think it's stocks, they think it's money. But what I really do is I mainly look at how policies affect people's health outcomes.
Yeah.
And so using data science, it all really relies on the use of data in order to inform our understanding of those questions. So in a lot of cases, I'll use large data sets and statistical methods in order to estimate how these policies impact people's health.
Yeah, and so I think there is oftentimes, especially recently, we hear some conversations about like big data, like the farming data that's used, and maybe there's some negative connotations applied to that, but you've really done a good job of explaining how the data science field can really be a positive thing and help us make improvements in policy and things of that nature. So thank you for that especially. Let's talk a little bit about this is a new undergraduate program, a Bachelor of Science in Data Science, and it's an interdisciplinary program at this point here at Mississippi State. Talk about what the maybe potential impacts or how students may benefit from this program.
Sure. So it's a really exciting new program. It's the first of its kind in the Southeast, and it's really going to be able to train students for some of these new career opportunities in data science that are sometimes a little harder to break into because, for example, if you have the stats background but you don't necessarily have the domain expertise, it can be kind of hard to work in those roles. So for the students that are going to be enrolling in this new program, we perceive them getting quite a few different jobs in a lot of different fields. And of course, the program covers different departments across campus.
Sure.
But specifically for the students who are potentially going to look into the ag, so we have a concentration in computational agriculture and natural resources. These are students that could work in fields like, ag finance. They could work in fields related to agricultural autonomy and machine learning. And it's really a lot of exciting new jobs.
Yeah, for sure. So we only have a little bit of time left, but I always like to ask individuals that come on, where's your favorite place on campus and why?
I would say my favorite place on campus it's hard to say. I love the rose garden.
Yeah.
I love flowers, and I think it's really beautiful. And one of the things I really enjoy about campus is there's quite a lot of beauty to be had.
Yeah.
I'm always finding new places as I walk around.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join us. This has been extremely insightful, and I hope that our viewers are able to explore this a bit more and perhaps consider earning a Bachelor of Science in Data Science. With us next is going to be Dr. Daryl Sparks. He's our newest Associate Dean on campus and also is going to provide us some insight related to the new data science program. Stay tuned.
Think you know egg? Think again.
We are creative.
We protect the environment.
We prepare for careers in medicine and conduct research.
We empower people and communities.
We are technology driven.
And we feed and clothe the world. We are the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences at Mississippi State University.
Hi there and welcome back to Influence. As I mentioned earlier, Dr. Daryl Sparks, our Associate Dean in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, is here with us today. So Dr. Sparks, why don't you first introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your academic history, maybe where you're from, let the folks know who you are.
Absolutely, Jessica. Thank you for having me here. First, I was born in Amarillo, Texas, which is definitely far away from Mississippi. Amarillo is in what we call the panhandle of Texas, but very early on in my childhood, my family moved to Mississippi, and so spent a little time in a tiny town called Hazelhurst, Mississippi, before moving to Greenville in the Mississippi Delta, and then finally up to the Memphis area, and that's where I spent a lot of my childhood years, is in the Memphis area. And then my educational background is actually in chemical engineering, so I'm very much math oriented. I love trying to solve problems like engineers typically do. And I joined the faculty in the Department of Biochemistry, Molecular Biology, Entomology, and Plant Pathology. That's the longest departmental name on campus, as you know. But I joined the faculty there in 2010 and very much became involved with working with undergraduate coordinators starting in 2013, did that for a number of years. And now I'm Associate Dean in the College of Ag and Life Sciences and enjoying every minute of it.
Well, we're extremely proud to have you on board. I'd like for our viewers, because you are relatively new to this particular position, you've been around the college a while and have been instrumental, but let's talk briefly just about maybe your vision for some of the things as we move forward for the college, maybe undergraduate research and I don't know, any international endeavors or programs that you kind of see that you might want to launch, just kind of a broad, big picture.
Well, there's three particular areas. It's recruiting, retention, and recommending. So recruiting is always an issue at academic institutions. We're trying to make sure that we're bringing in students, and there is a potential enrollment cliff, they call it, approaching in 2025 for all institutions as the birth rate has fallen a little bit over the years. So we're trying to come up with ways to kind of prevent that from happening to our college and, of course, Mississippi State University as a whole. So that's coming up with innovative ways to recruit students, not only at the undergraduate level, but also at the graduate level to bring people in. And so the data science program we're talking about today is certainly one of those ways that we're trying to keep that enrollment increasing and not go the other way. The other thing is retention. So with retention, that obviously focuses on students staying in our programs, and that's not necessarily just trying to make sure that students do well in classes. It's not just academic. It's also trying to get faculty, because even since I've been in faculty since 2010, students have changed over the year. We need to make sure our faculty have the resources to adapt to that change. and then finally recommending. So what I mean by that is making sure that whenever we have students graduate, that we're able to say, hey, come here and hire our students. So we're able to recommend our students to go out into the workforce or to professional school.
Absolutely. So we've already kind of talked about maybe the benefits to the data science program to our undergraduate student population, but as you just mentioned, we are also looking to recruit and retain some of those graduate students and perhaps prepare them for those for the workforce, if you will. So maybe could you talk a little bit about kind of maybe what the transition looks like or the application of the data science program as an undergraduate student, then moving into a graduate degree program?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we have going on at MSU is what we call the Thrive in 5 program. And so with that, a student can start taking graduate courses as an undergraduate. And so what we envision with the data science program for our undergraduates is they choose a concentration area, maybe it's biochemistry, maybe it's agricultural economics, whatever it may be, and they can actually start to take grad classes in those programs as an undergraduate, so they can very easily transition into grad school and do a 1-year master's here, and 5 years you get a bachelor's and a master's degree.
How amazing is that?
Absolutely.
That is really a pretty cool opportunity to kind of get a head start, if you will.
That's right.
Maybe save some money on a graduate education. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about, you mentioned earlier faculty. We are a teaching and research institution, and we have an outreach arm as well, but let's focus on that teaching and research piece. How do you see the data science program maybe leveraging existing teaching and research efforts?
Well, first thing, MSU is known for its supercomputing resources, and those are only growing, but a computer is a tool at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's what can you do with that tool. And so the idea with this data science program is to teach students not only the knowledge and skill set to be able to use that tool, but also how to apply it. And so whether it's precision agriculture, ag economics, whatever it may be, that's what we're trying to provide students with, is this multifaceted background, so that once they go out into the workforce, they can work in many, many different fields.
Absolutely. Well, we are running fairly short on time. As always, I love to know where people's favorite place on campus is. So where's your favorite place on campus and why?
Well, probably the easy answer would be the ice cream store, but I won't say that. That's probably too obvious. So for me, it's the library, Mitchell Memorial Library. I love handling books and the smell of old books and being able to flip through pages, and so I enjoy spending time in the library.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for spending time with us today. That's going to do it for this episode of Influence. I hope to see you next time.